I finished reading volume 4 of Joyful Reunion, and this was a pretty good volume. We're getting closer to the identity reveal, and I can't wait for it to happen. I really want to see how everyone reacts to the news that Duoling or Wang Shan, which is the name most people know him by, is in fact the actual son of Li Jianhong and the real crown prince, specifically Emperor Li Yonchio and Mukwanda. I want to see how Mukwanda reacts to the fact that the true son of Li Jianhong has been his newest and brightest student the entire time. We see him investigate Duoling's background, and his advisor finds someone from Duoling's hometown who could be helpful in discovering the truth. Li Yongchio is still living in denial that Seiyon is a fraud, even though I do think that in the back of his mind he knows something's not right. I really do think that subconsciously he knows that Seiyon isn't his brother's son. I also think that he suspects something about Duoling. I liked seeing Duoling and Li Yonchiho's interactions at the end of Volume 3 and also in the beginning of this volume. Even Xianyu notices something about Duoling. He and Li Yanchio both seem to really like Duoling. Meanwhile, Duoling is planning out his next moves. He finishes up the Imperial exams. He gets the third highest score and immediately sets off to go to the city of Yi and fixing the things that are going on over there. Young was already planning on sending Duoling to a remote location and having him killed, so he's just plans to do that while Duoling is on his way to Yi. He also wants to get rid of Wudu too, who he is sure at this point knows Duoling's true identity, but things don't exactly go to plan. The Shadow Guard teams that were sent aren't able to complete this task. One team gets completely taken out while following Duoling and Wudu on their way to Yi by Yenyang. Yenyang was sent north on a mission for the Emperor and later runs into Duoling and Wudu. But before he does run into them, he takes out the Shadow Guards, which is bad for Seiyan in my opinion because the Shadow Guards are beholden to the Crown Prince, and Jian Yun already suspects that Seiyan is a fraud, so him finding those guards following Duoling and Wudu wasn't a good look. Duoling and Wudu also discover and take out two Shadow Guards that went after them, so they know that Young was lying when he had approached Duoling about a truce while Duoling handles the situation in Yi with the Mongols invading. This causes Wudu to be even more protective of Duoling, which makes things a little harder for them as they do have their duties to attend to, so Wudu can't be with Duoling at all times, especially because Duoling does have a bit of a problem with getting himself into trouble. When Yun Yun shows up, it does get easier because he can protect Duoling. But before he shows up, when they are on their way to Yi, they come across a group of Mongols trying to lay siege to a city. And they do stop it, but it turned out to be Batu and his personal guards, and Batu ends up kidnapping Duoling for a bit. I knew that Batu had a thing for Duoling back when they were in school. I also knew that their friendship was never going to be what it was back when they were in school, with Batu being a Mongol prince and Duoling being the true prince of southern Chen. But I didn't think Batu's reappearance was going to be him kidnapping Duoling so that he could keep Duoling at his side and they could be together. However, Wudu is still more jealous of Helianbo than Batu. While I do feel like Helianbo does have a crush on Duoling, I feel like he would be just fine being sworn brothers. Batu, on the other hand, is the one who actually kidnapped Duoling. However, Duoling and Helianbo have an okay relationship while Batu is in the same camp as their enemy, so that's probably why. Wudu and Duoling are working on fixing things up in Yi and are getting the place to be functional and more self reliant. but they do take the time to take a trip to Dwaling's hometown where they run into Cheng Lujun and Mukwanda's advisor. This is where they find out that Mukwanda has been investigating Dwaling's past and that Mukwanda's advisor is trying to get back into contact with an old man from Dwaling's hometown who knew his maternal family. Chung Yun was sent north to find Mukwanda's advisor after there was no word from him, and Young had also sent Long Junsha north to try and get rid of Duan since the Shadow Guards haven't had any luck. However, Mukwanda had thought that Young was suspicious of him, and that's why he sent Leng Junsha north, which led him to send Chung Lun north. But Young is completely focused on Duan. He's not really focused on anyone else trying to prove that he's a fraud and an imposter. He just thinks if he gets rid of Duan then he'll be fine. Duan and Voodoo end up helping them to try and find this man from Duan past, while the advisor goes to Yi to look after things for them. But he ends up running into Lung Junsha on the way, who takes out several shadow guards, but also gets rid of the advisor. But before he gets rid of the advisor, he tells him who the real crown prince is. Dwaling and Voodoo are in another city that is under threat from the Mongols. They end up finding the old man who was a wonton peddler that Dwaling knew when he was a child, but they also run into the prince of the Dao Kingdom that Dwaling also has a past with. Dwaling also runs into Lang Junxia, and Zheng Yan also shows up after Dwaling and Voodoo have been gone for a while. Voodoo, Chung Lunjun, and Zheng Yan end up holding Lang Junxia prisoner. While Dwaling is alone with Lang Junxia, he questions him on why he helps Young take his identity. Lang Junxia gives an explanation basically saying that it's for revenge for the fall of his kingdom, but Dwaling doesn't believe him, and neither do I. Dwaling is also preparing to help the Lao Kingdom's prince fight back the Mongols. They end up forming a treaty, and the prince, who knows Dwaling's real identity, tells him that he will help him get information on Young's past since Young is from the Lao Kingdom originally, but also tells Dwaling that he believes he knows where Dwaling's father's sword is and agrees to help him get it back. I really do enjoy this story, and I wish I had Volume 5 with me now. I really do think that the identity reveal will happen towards the end of the next volume. I think maybe it will happen right before Volume 5 ends, and all of the reactions and the fallout to it will come in Volume 6. At least that's the way I think it will happen.